Barack Obama's speech last night. Boy, did everybody hate it. Of course, the right-wingers hated it because it was spoken by Barack Obama. They have the most absurd complaints about it and Obama's actions. That's coming up in a little bit. But the left wing also hated it. Because they said, look, enough with the talk. What are you going to do? Action. So you thought you were just going to give an Oval Office speech and that everything was going to get cured? Oh, Obama gave a speech. What are you going to do about it? So now let's judge for ourselves. Let's watch a portion of the speech here, clip number 2, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Already, this oil spill is the worst environmental disaster America has ever faced. And unlike an earthquake or a hurricane, it's not a single event that does its damage in a matter of minutes or days. The millions of gallons of oil that have spilled into the Gulf of Mexico are more like an epidemic, one that we will be fighting for months and even years. But make no mistake, we will fight this spill with everything we've got for as long as it takes. We will make BP pay for the damage their company has caused. And we will do whatever is necessary to help the Gulf Coast and its people recover from this tragedy. For decades, we have known the days of cheap and easily accessible oil were numbered. For decades, we've talked about the need to end America's century-long addiction to fossil fuels. And for decades, we have failed to act with the sense of urgency that this challenge requires. Time and again, the path forward has been blocked, not only by oil industry lobbyists, but also by a lack of political courage and candor. The consequences of our inaction are now in plain sight. Countries like China are investing in clean energy jobs and industries that should be right here in America. Each day, we send nearly $1 billion of our wealth to foreign countries for their oil. And today, as we look to the Gulf, we see an entire way of life being threatened by a menacing cloud of black crude. We cannot consign our children to this future. The tragedy unfolding on our coast is the most painful and powerful reminder yet that the time to embrace a clean energy future is now. As we recover from this recession, the transition to clean energy has the potential to grow our economy and create millions of jobs. But only if we accelerate that transition. Only if we seize the moment. And only if we rally together and act as one nation. The oil spill is not the last crisis America will face. This nation has known hard times before, and we will surely know them again. What sees us through, what has always seen us through, is our strength, our resilience, and our unyielding faith that something better awaits us if we summon the courage to reach for it.
So, here are the issues. It's usual marshmallow stuff. We can do it with the invisible faith of God above. We can clean up the oil. Well, I would like to see the visible hand of the government step in here and say, and what he didn't say in this speech, what went wrong specifically? Talk about, hey, why didn't they spend the $500,000 on that safety valve that could have avoided billions of dollars in damages to BP, to the government, and to all the taxpayers, let alone the Gulf, and let alone the ecological disaster? Why didn't he make a case for his own energy bill? I mean, he's even too reluctant to do that. And again, with this reaching out to Republicans, that wasn't in the tape, but that was in the speech. Okay, and if we just can get along, dude, you're not gonna get along. They're never gonna agree with you. Even in this case, we're gonna show you later in the show, Republicans covering for BP to make sure they pay as little as possible. Do you think they're going to work with you on your clean energy? But you can't be that naive. You just can't be. So at this point, it seems like empty politics and empty rhetoric. Of all the, and Robert Reich called it vapid. Almost every progressive commentator in the country thought it was the low point for Obama in not being specific on, damn it, what is the problem? How are you going to fix it? What is the proper role of government? And what are we going to do going forward? Specifics, not empty talk about faith and, oh my God, everything's going to be all right. But Dan Frumkin summed it up best in my mind. He used to be for the Washington Post, now he's with Huffington Post. Here's his last line on it. He said, "This week could ultimately mark the point at which the public and the media start actively discounting what the president says, judging him instead on what he does and doesn't do." To which I say, of course, you should have been doing that all along. It's about damn time, but it looks like we have reached an inflection point. That's what the White House wanted with this speech, but it's just not the one they got. And that inflection point is, okay, enough with the nice talk, okay? What are you going to do? Are you going to be strong, or are you going to take some actions? Okay, so when you just look at the speech by itself, you know, it ranges in opinion from disaster to not good enough at all, okay? Now, having said that, here comes the good news. Today, we get a settlement with BP. He pulls in the CEO and the chairman of BP at the White House, and what he had said vaguely the night before about how they're going to pay all the damages, we're not going to tell you how much, etc. Well, today got made concrete. It's $20 billion, and BP is giving that over to an escrow fund where it's not them that would decide, it's a third party that would decide. It's going to be Kenneth Feinberg, the same guy who did the 9/11 payouts for families, etc. So at least that's much more specific. It's an actual number. It's a big number. It's even bigger than Congress was asking for originally, which was $10 billion, and BP has agreed to it. Okay, now look, you know I take on Obama when you need to take him on. You know I think people have been very late to criticizing him for being soft on so many different things and not really delivering change. And it's kind of ironic now that people have realized that on this issue, because, or maybe it's not ironic, maybe it's appropriate, maybe all that pressure finally got to him and he finally took some action, right? And maybe that's exactly what he needs, that kind of political pressure. But in the final analysis here, as far as this deal is concerned, credit where credit is due, I think it's a good deal. Now, people say, hey, look, you've got issues with it. Some of it is still unclear. Are there going to be loopholes? How are the payments going to be made? But you know what? I think it's still pretty specific. Unless they come in with some wild card loophole later, they're going to pay $5 billion per year, including $5 billion in 2010, and $20 billion overall, if need be, to spend that money. Now, that's a good deal for BP, too, because they lost $55 billion in market value last time I checked, because of the uncertainty around them. This way they can go turn around to the stock market and say, look, our damages are limited at about $20 billion. So can you give us the rest of that $35 billion back in market cap? Which makes some degree of sense for them. And it's a good deal for the American people because $20 billion is a lot of money, and it should go a long way towards covering the costs that were created by this mess. So I don't want people to be too tough on Obama in that, oh, everything he does is wrong. That's crazy. Don't do that. You got to judge things based on how they are, right? Not on your preconceived notions. At the same time, I am so tired of people being soft on him. So when you look at this, though, objectively, you say, in the final analysis, when regarding the payment with the oil spill, that's a job nicely done. You're not going to get everything you want. This is as good a deal as you can get. And you know what? Sometimes when you get a good deal, you know what you should do? You should take it. And that's what's happened here.